This is a regular scheduled meeting of the Garden Public Schools Board of Directors. I now call this meeting to order.
May I pray? You will bow your heads with me. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you for today. God, I just thank you for allowing us to be here and to assemble together freely. God, I just thank you for what you have given us in the school district. God, I just thank you for each and every man and woman that have worked so tirelessly to provide this education for our kids. God, I just pray that you would give us wisdom to make the right decisions tonight, to help guide this school district and to help lead us, lead our children into the next generation. God, I also just ask as we start the school session, God, I just ask for protection of our children and of our staff and teachers. God, I just ask for your protection over all of our students and over all of our campuses. God, we just ask you for this protection. God, we just thank you for everything you do for us. Amen.
Amen.
You want to stand with me and we're going to say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a consent agenda. There's one item, there's one item under the consent agenda, the agenda itself. And there's number one, we need to add item number H, which is radios. Do I hear a motion to add that to the agenda?
I make a motion, we add item H to the agenda, the radios.
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye. All in the same sign. That motion passed.
Is there a motion to accept the rest of the consent agenda?
I make a motion to accept the financial reports and the previous board minutes.
A second.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in dissent, same sign. That motion passed.
Superintendent's report, basically, we've got a lot of things going on. I think we've got one more position, potential position, math position that's open that we can cover if we need to, but we do have, today, we got an applicant and she's gonna interview tomorrow. You know, I think I've kept you abreast mostly of what's going on, but and then items in the agenda that we're going to cover. Things are going well. The principals are working hard. Air conditioning works. So, and we're looking forward to, you know, the start of school. First item under business is organizational chart. There is a change in organizational chart from what I gave you Thursday night, and basically and Jeremy actually changed the format of it where you could read it a little bit better. But the athletic director and people under him, and also Victor, answers to me instead of to Ms. Jones. It should have been that way, and we didn't. Anyway. So basically, if you don't have any questions, we just need a motion to accept the organizational chart.
I make a motion that we accept the Garden School District organizational chart.
Second.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in dissent, same sign. That motion passed.
The handbooks, I believe Thursday night when we talked, you know, the elementary handbook and the middle school handbook were, I think everybody was perfectly pleased with. I think there was one item, is that right, Misty? There was one item in the high school handbook that we were going to adjust. Now, if you need that, I think it's in your packet or in your stuff.
In the stuff that I provided,
Yeah.
the changes are in there.
Does anybody have any questions or anything about those changes? I think it's something you'd actually requested. Maybe.
Yeah, that, no.
Yeah, 39. So if anybody has any questions on any of the handbooks, now the time to be asked. If not, I would entertain a motion to accept the handbooks as presented.
I move we accept the updated changes to the Garden Primary, Cave Middle School, and Garden High School handbooks as presented.
Second.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in dissent, same sign. Motion passed.
Okay, item number C, what we'd like to do is pay for the license renewal of all current licensed personnel for the license renewals. Found out this afternoon, we think there's 14 this year. Okay, so it'd be $1,400. All right, so basically need a motion to do that.
I make the motion that we pay for the license for our employees.
Renewal license, yeah.
Renewal license.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in dissent, same sign. That motion passed.
And item D, we'll go to number 2 first, the sensors and cameras. We've only been able to get one bid so far. It is a tips taps bid and it is extremely high. And so we are trying our best to find another bid or two. I think that bid was somewhere around $70,000. Okay, so, you know, we're looking at, we're trying to get another bid. He tried to get it, we thought we'd get it for tonight, we don't. Anyway, so we just gotta bypass that tonight. And then item number 1, purchase of smart boards. We'd like to go ahead and motion on, or question about smart boards, or there's gonna be 15 of them, there'll be 1, 3, 5 in each building.
Same price,
I'm sorry?
same price that we quoted.
Yes.
I make the motion that we purchase those smart boards.
Second motion. Got a motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in dissent, same sign. That motion passed.
Okay, the resource officer, there's no change from Thursday night, but what I'd like to do is for the board to make a motion to go ahead and make this motion to give me, basically you give me permission to enter into an agreement with the city of Garden for a resource officer. They don't have that officer. I mean, they don't have anybody yet. They're looking. And the agreement that the marshal, not the chief, sorry, the marshal and I have is that he will bring that person to me and then I will be able to agree to that. Okay, and there's another caveat part of that is that I'm not going to know this person, most likely. And so I will either call the board or I will call a special session if nobody knows him. That makes sense? I mean, odds are y'all are gonna know whoever they bring if it's somebody from around here. And I'm not. So we'll either, but we have a right. We'll basically be paying them, the city, for the use of that officer, but we're gonna pay a blanket amount and we will use him the allotted time that we spelled out in a contract or in an agreement. Okay. Anybody have any questions on that? You can tell by your eyes, you got questions. You good? You good?
If I got some questions, I'm gonna ask them.
Do we need to specify the amount and for the number of days, or is that
No.
something to be done later?
Basically what you can, but you know, the agreement that I have is that we will pay them, you know, $18 an hour is what they pay at the city, and I will pay up to $35,000 for the year. But then that amount will depend on how many days he actually works for the school. Like a teacher works 190 days. Does he work 200? Does he work 190? So that actual final dollar figure will probably change a little bit. That makes sense?
Mhm.
But I'll make sure that we're all in agreement before we proceed.
I make the motion that we get a superintendent authority to pursue a contract with the city of Garden for a possible resource officer.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in dissent, same sign. That motion's passed.
Item F is that we currently have school phones and the contract comes up in August, and so what I would prefer to do, a lot of those phones aren't even being used. And so what I'd prefer to do is give a stipend to those people that authorize people for school phones, a $500 stipend. And then we will do away with the phones. If we can get any money for them, we will, but well,
Did you have a list of 8? Is that what is it a list of 8?
Yeah.
Eight,
Yeah.
8 positions, okay.
what we'll do is basically what I will need to do now, if you approve this, then I need to take this to the PPC as soon as they're organized and they approve it. Or they can approve it or not approve it, but then it comes back to you whenever I don't know when they organize and when they meet, but I'll talk to them. They have the option of approving it. They have a problem of disapproving it. They have a problem, possibility of they can change their
Yeah,
options.
that what popped up to me a little later.
Do what?
That what popped up to me a little later, if they disapprove it.
If they
It's
disapprove,
rarely that I've seen them disapprove, but if they do disapprove it, when we come back to paying for the contract that we really don't want to keep,
no, basically, if they disapprove it, then you come back here, you can still do it. As far as the rule, you send it to the PPC, and then when it comes back to you,
you got a choice.
no matter what they do, you can accept their offer, or you can go ahead and do what you plan to do to begin with. Or you can negotiate in some way.
I make the motion that we move forward with we doing away with the school phones and offering and present a $500 stipend for each phone holder with a total of 8 phones.
Second the motion.
Do we have a motion and a second? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in dissent, same sign. That motion passed.
The personnel package, which you have with you, and you should have been given another one.
Point of clarification. At this point, based upon the rules established by the Garden School District, we have to go into executive session.
Not unless you want to discuss them.
But we're gonna discuss them.
Okay, if you want to discuss any individuals, then you can ask to go in executive session. If you're just approving them, you don't have to.
I'm looking at some changes to the list.
He has some questions about it.
Do it.
Yes,
He has a question about a few.
Okay, I don't care. You can request going into
yeah,
executive
well, I'm
session.
just pointing out the point of order to the president.
I don't have any objection to that. We
Okay.
can go into executive session and discuss it.
So you just need to say we're in executive
Okay.
session.
We're in executive
What?
session. There-
Why don't we
I need a motion for us to return back out of the executive session.
you don't really
a
need one.
motion,
You can just say
make
we're
a
back.
statement.
We back?
Okay, we're back in session.
Okay, we're back in executive session.
I make a motion that we accept the personnel package presented by the superintendent.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in dissent, same sign. Motion passed.
Do you want to make that
Mr.
other
President,
motion?
I need to bring something to the board. I'd like to make a change, to make a motion that we no longer go into executive session for personnel package, only if we have a question about a personnel on the package.
Do we have a motion?
Second.
Either way.
All right, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All in dissent, same sign. That motion is passed.
Okay, item number 8, which we changed, is radios. And what you got Thursday night was my responsibility, but basically what happened, what you got Thursday night was, the bid you got was one Motorola digital portable and one Motorola portable, VHF Motorola portable. And basically, so what we need, it needs to be is we need to have, the ultimate deal would be to have 12 and 4 instead of 1 and 1. And so instead of 8,000, I gave those to you. Instead of 8,000, what I told you Thursday, actual bid would be 16, when you add them together, it'd be 16.5.
65.
Okay, so, but and I've got my guy over here, no baseball cap on. I'm open for questions, and we can do this now, or we can postpone it, but it's something that needs to happen. The repeater is very, very important. The number of handheld is debatable. Okay, but what we want is for every custodial person to have one, or, a portable, and we want, superintendent's office or designee to have one, and all three principals to have one. Okay,
I'm just curious, what's the size of
you mean how big?
it?
I don't know that answer.
Because,
Dustin?
because my concern is, that's the issue I'm running into now. We have some they're so big, they just in the way.
No, this ought to fit right on you. I mean, it'll snap on
That's
you.
why I'm asking the
Yeah,
question.
it'll snap right on you. It'll snap right on your belt.
Cause someone with hands,
Or your-
with earpieces, someone, I just wanna make sure it's not so big, it's in the way.
So what you need is, number one, the repeater is the biggest thing.
Now, I'm just talking about what they carry.
Correct. I know, but the repeater that we're putting up there, that is a must that we fix that, and that makes a lot of things better. But what you need is, you need to have that radio that you can, that the principal can immediately get in contact with somebody and have help. It also convenience and safety wise can get the janitor, instead of doing it. If, for example, if I need, say a water pipe broke right in the middle of high school, all right? She gets on the phone to call Kendall, and Kendall's on the phone. Okay, they don't answer. But if he's got a handheld sitting there, he's gonna hear it. And so from a safety standpoint also of some type of event, everybody hears it. It also can access, the police can also listen to that. And so it just, from a safety standpoint, I think it's imperative that you do it. Now, could we get by with a couple less radios? Probably. But I mean, you could give one custodial person, and then now they're in opposite ends of the building, so what do you do? So I can live with less radios. The repeater is a must, and of course, the license and that.
So we're looking at 12,
I'm sorry.
we're looking at 12 radios.
We're looking at 12 radios and 4 more radios. The 12 radios are 568, and correct me now, Dustin, but they're the ones that have 3 channels, 1, 2, 3 on top. The other one is a digital radio that would be as a digital read, where you can and more access to different channels for different people, like radio. I mean, like police or whatever.
So we've got a total of 16 radios.
Correct.
Have we identified 16 people that need the radio?
Well, you got 8 custodial, you got Kendall, 9, 3 principals is 12, me is 13, Dustin is 14. I did at one point,
Victor,
thinking. the other
you wear
2.
one, Victor?
And then, but anyway, so I'm just saying, we have a landline here in the office, okay? And so somebody could call the office, but what if I'm not in here? But I'm just saying, you could get away with less, but the ideal would be that.
Well, what about the pricing on it? If you buy more, they're gonna give you a better deal. So, I
Well,
mean,
this is the price he got from
Right.
this place, and
Is there any guarantee that these things will work? Can we do something, adjust if we get them here, testing them, and it doesn't serve our purpose?
The
I-
biggest problem we're looking at right now is supply and demand.
Mhm.
Nobody has radios in stock.
Yeah.
And so what they are willing to offer us is getting these, one of each, and testing them out here on campus. They're 5-watt radios, guaranteed to talk to each other about 1,200 yards
Hmm.
from this corner of campus to that corner of campus as a crow flies is right at 700 yards.
But that's the cheaper one, right?
That's the handheld.
Yeah.
You're looking at handhelds, and the difference in the two models, the model that begins with XPR is a digital readout radio that allows the user to realize what channel is coming into them when it's on scan. So if custodial was to radio, then the user with the XPR would be able to see that that's custodial talking to them, and they could switch to custodial channel to actually relay back. Whereas the other radio model will strictly be for employees who do not need to communicate with other levels of employee in our district.
Is there a different level of repeater that will extend that range, or do we y'all think we need to extend that range?
Right now, our location of our repeater is questionable to begin with, based on its location in our district
Mhm.
and the district we do have, as far as us covering from Beatty to Oklahoma. It's expensive. These companies that have these cell phone towers, they really, really stick it to people that use their space. But a repeater upgrade is the heart of our system.
Mhm.
And for sure, it's gonna be, because last year, lightning hit our antenna, burned our coax up. We got a new antenna, we got a coax, they're both less than a year old. The only thing we don't have is a repeater that I rebuilt last summer.
Mhm.
And
Well,
it's
just
on
say-
borrowed time.
I just seen we got a 3,300 for the repeater here. I was just saying, if is there a $5,000 repeater that give you twice the range or something?
So the repeater listed on the quote is the same repeater that the county uses.
Okay.
It's an analog digital capable repeater, and it's of the level in which the county uses for our fire and analog, for our county's analog channels.
What I can tell the board, you can do one or two things. You could just buy one of each and then we see, and then we come back next, in August and tell you if they're good, or you could give me permission to buy them all and I still buy one and then see how it works, but go ahead and get the repeater and other things that go with it.
I just have one question. It just pops in my mind. IT maintenance. See, because on ours, for some strange reason, we lost channel 1. Our main channel. So do we have anybody to be able to work on?
Reynolds Radio out of Warren is who services our radio.
Because that cost a lot of money when we lost channel 1. We went to channel 2 and channel 3, but everybody was on some channel. What about Mexico? We lost channel 1, it cost money. And people couldn't talk to each other, and they didn't know they couldn't talk to each other. So that's one thing. So I would suggest to the board, yeah, because what we're seeing is they're costing more as you go.
Yeah.
Because what is they want you to get the ones on the phone. But I'm suggesting what we're gonna be using it for, and I'm seeing this schematic diagram here that custodians probably on one channel, somebody else on another channel, then somebody else on what I call a facility channel, they get all channels. And do they come with the emergency button?
No,
Oh,
these are not those type of radios.
okay, because, well, what I was saying, but the question is, if something happened to somebody, they can't call, they can hit the
Page
button. And the button goes off, and you know exactly what radio that was, that hit the emergency button. But these don't come with it. I'm gonna suggest the board to get them.
I mean, one thing that you will get is residual safety. You could get a custodian sees something happening. They could inform other people that there's
Well-
a shooter or any other kind of deal.
Bernard, do you use that? You use that in your
I use the radio
business?
pretty much every
Okay,
day.
why don't we table this until next month, and then you and I and Dustin get together and try to figure out the best deal we can get.
Because there was a great issue when we lost,
What?
we didn't even know we had lost channel 1.
I mean, would you
Yeah,
be
I'm
willing to do
All
that?
I get together on that, because I see what a need is.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes it so much easier than using the phone and you just hit them, boom, you just talk.
Are you okay with us going ahead and approving that if y'all meet in the middle of the month and you go ahead and get them ordered? I mean, let's do that with a max. Do you want to have
Yeah,
a, do
because
you want a financial cap though? Like we don't spend over 18,000 or 20,000? Because I do like the idea that you have of the emergency button.
Mhm.
Like if I see something and maybe I can't speak because there's an intruder and I can't say anything, but I could press the emergency button and alarm the system.
Well, what helped is we had somebody who was having a heart attack
Right.
and they just hit the button and you know exactly, and see what this control will tell you, hey, or you hit it by accident, they'll say, you hit your emergency button, everything all right, you can reset your.
Yeah.
That button comes in handy.
So what,
Okay.
what if we make, are you
I'm good. I'm good either way. I
Are you
mean,
go capping
I
up
think we're
20.
good because as closer to school, if there's a supply
issue?
issue, the school districts are gonna be after them.
Better get them.
We better get
Yeah.
them and get on 'em.
So I make a motion that we purchase radio systems with a max of $20,000 without coming back to the board for approval.
plus the other things that,
Oh, yes, the whole, the package,
Yeah.
the
okay,
package.
so we need to
Yeah.
go ahead and get the repeater and all that done.
Yes,
Yes, you
the whole
have to.
package. Yeah.
Okay, good deal.
Can I ask one question before we
Mhm.
vote? Is there any installation involved in this, or is that all gonna be taken care of inside the district?
No installation, it's the program.
Yeah.
Reynolds has to program the FCC channels in the radios, because if you look on your quote, there's something that's at the bottom of it, that quote is the pricing for those additional channels.
And we did
Now,
pay labor.
The,
Mhm.
the labor quoted in that
You
is
have to post
overshot,
your-
way overshot.
You have to
because
post your license.
We don't know
We have to,
what radios are
we
gonna
own
need
radios.
reprogramming. That's just the nature of the beast type situation when you're doing this, when you're upgrading channels within the radio system. None of our bus radios are gonna change. This is all for this personnel equipped radios.
Basically, he's taking the bus, the old bus, the radios out of old bus and putting the new. So,
Redo our motion for that. since-
you
since we
get a
talked-
second?
I don't have a second.
I second.
Thank you.
Okay, we got a motion in a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
I-
All in dissent, same sign. The motion passed. Move to,
First, I make the motion to
Adjourn.
adjourn.
Second.
Yeah, thank you very much.